Okay, so I've been trying to write a blog post for like weeks at this point, and every time I sit down to actually write it, everything flies out of my head. So my blog is woefully neglected, and I have all of these thoughts, and I really want to share them or at least put them down somewhere or something, which I don't even know how I possibly have any more thoughts on knitting since it's all I do all day, every day, and talk about it all day, every day, and I have the podcast and all of those things. So, but these are things that just don't really fit in anywhere else that I just feel like I need to talk about or want to talk about, and I'm either too lazy or too busy to actually sit down and type a blog. so this is gonna be like video vlogging. And they're just going to be a couple of minutes, and I'm just going to kind of spout things at you guys, and then you can watch if you want, and if you're watching, hi, and if you don't, then at least they're there for me, and, you know, and then I have them for posterity. So the thing that I've been meaning to write a blog post about, I got to quit hitting my desk, clearly. The thing that I've been meaning to write a blog post about for weeks now is I have this very fancy, iPod Touch, which is like an iPhone without the phone. And I bought it because of all the knitting apps. And I love the knitting apps. I love all the apps, actually. I have a lot of apps. I have like 4 pages of apps. But I bought it specifically for the knitting apps because I am incredibly disorganized and I like the idea of being a more organized person. So, so in an attempt to be a more organized person, I do things like this where I buy things. So I want to talk about a couple of the apps that I have. The one that's my favorite is called Knit Buddy, and I think it was free or it was like $1.99. It wasn't very expensive, but it's like a mini Ravelry essentially, without all the forums and all the interactiveness and all the cool stuff. But it's like Ravelry Lite, I suppose. And you can, I don't know if you can actually, you can't see it, so I'm not even going to try. But anyways, it's an app, and it's got, you can put in the name of your app. You can put a picture in. I've got a little picture in here. And then it's like a row counter as well. You can actually, and you can hear it when you count rows. So I can just leave this sitting next to me when I'm knitting, and instead of trying to turn a little knobby on the little round row counters or use a bead on an abacus bracelet or make a hash mark or any number of the other methods that I've used to count rows and to stay in my pattern and keep track. This is much, much easier, and you can add more than one per thing. So say, you know, you've got a lace chart, you can add rows and repeats and stitches and everything. So like if it's really complicated, you can use all of those different things to count how many rows you've done, count how many repeats you've done, all of that. And then you can make notes about it as well. I actually use this a lot for designing as well. When I'm designing, I put my notes in here instead of trying to write them out, because typing is a lot clearer than my chicken scratch. So, and then you can mark it finished. You can put it in your queue. I've never used either one of those two functions, but they're there. You can also put all of your needles and your hooks and yarn and all kinds of stuff in here as well. It actually catalogs all of that. I haven't put any of those in there, but if you do that, when you put in your whip information, it shows you whether you've got the needle sizes that you need, all of those things. Again, it's very similar to Ravelry, but on your iPhone. So until Ravelry comes out with an iPhone app, this would certainly do the trick for now. I've got like 12 different things in here. So that's the main one, Knit Buddy. It's either free or very cheap. The other one that I use a lot is Yardage Calc, which is a yardage calculator, which, like, say you're in a yarn shop and, you know, you want to do a sweater and you want to use a worsted weight, so you know you're going to get, we'll say, like 8 stitches to the inch, and on whatever size needle, you don't need to put your needle in, 8 stitches to the inch, and your chest size is 34. You put those two numbers in, and then you push a little button that says calculate, and it tells you roughly how much yardage that you're going to need. So this for me is 1,540 yards for 34-inch chest and 7 inches in row gauge, or in stitch gauge, excuse me. It's not perfect. It doesn't go over row gauge, and it doesn't factor in like stitch patterns and things like that and shaping and all of that, but at least give you a rough estimate. And I have used this actually in a yarn shop to get an idea, and it has other projects other than just sweaters. It has hats and mittens and blankets and scarves and socks as well. I mean, most socks you just buy one thing, but like say you were doing knee socks or something and you needed more specifics, you could do that. So that one's called Yardage Calc. The other one that I like is called Stitch Minder, which is sort of like the Knit Buddy, but it literally just keeps track of your rows, so you can use the row thingy, and it doesn't put in your whole project. It only keeps track of one at a time. This is great for just like in a hurry if you lost your row counter or something like that. You can kind of see it down here since it's sort of shaded. It's only got the couple of things, but the numbers are nice and big, so I like that as well. There's a bunch of other apps for the iPhone that are related to knitting and spinning. There's a spinning wraps per inch one. There's one on here for a needle gauger that actually shows you, if you lay your knitting needle on the top of the screen, it shows you what size things are. That one I found is not terribly reliable, but in a pinch it'll at least get you in the ballpark. It'll at least tell you, okay, this is probably a 7 or an 8, you know, or it's like a 3 or a 4, but I've found it's hard to get like real specific. So that's what I've been meaning to write a blog post about for weeks now, and just haven't got around to. So that was essentially it. And I've got some ideas about some other things, so I'll try to toss up a couple of video blog posts if I can't make myself sit down and actually write just over the next couple of weeks, because I am trying to be more active on my blog, and I've got some new stuff coming out both from the tea business and from the yarn business. So new stuff coming. Thanks.